Hello, gentlemen, barbarians, savages. It's the Rooster here. It's a little bit after Labor Day, and I'm wearing white because fuck women's convention and fuck fashion, and I'm a grown ass man, and I do what the fuck I want to do. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about what I call the blue pill data diary. Now, I already did a video on the red pill, and I talked about money, basically, and how money will make you go red pill, losing all the money that you have in your dealings with women. Now, the blue pill data diary is the pain and suffering that goes along with that money. So I'm going to talk about, this is basically my life story and my blue pill data diary, but it's not going to talk that much about the money. It's going to talk about the pain and suffering that is involved in interactions with women over your life. Now, I think everybody should have a data diary on their interactions with women. You can do a written diary, you can do a phone diary, you can do it on your computer or whatever. The way I do it, and it's interesting how I came about to do this, because I realized early on in my life that women at the end of relationships, they always get rid of all the evidence. They cut the pictures up, they burn the love notes, they ghost them from the phone, they get rid of all the stuff. And I wondered to myself, why do women do that? What? It's because they don't want to remember what they did. They don't want to remember. They want to start fresh and new. It's solipsism. They don't want to have any guilt or anything associated with that previous relationship. So what I started doing at a very early age, I guess I was about 19, is I took a picture of every girlfriend that I had, and when it came time to break up, I got rid of most of the pictures, but I kept one, and I took a little piece of scotch tape, put it on the back, and I wrote why the breakup happened, whether it was my fault or her fault or whatever. And now, people come to my house and they see all these pictures of me back in my 20s and 30s with all these different women. And when women come over, they look at that and they go, "Oh shit! Who are all these women that he's with?" And I said, "Those are all my story." And I got a little note on the back of each one of those to remind me what happened and why. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I took my top 6 right here, and I'm going to talk about them real quick over the next 30 minutes. And this is going to give you demonstrated pain and suffering about why you should go MGTOW, why you should go red pill, because the blue pill and the purple pill does not work. Okay, so I'll start talking about the very first one. College girl that I used to date. Friend of mine was at the bar, saw her hanging out with some other dude, whatever. So I broke up with her. She didn't want to freaking break up. So she keyed my car and all of this stuff at the time. And I was a college kid. I didn't have that much money. It kind of sucked driving around with my car keyed up. So I went over and I left a note on her door. It was a shitty note. You're a cunt. I can't believe you did this. I'm going to try to put you in jail. I can. But at the end of the note, I wrote, "I wish you were dead. That was my mistake. 30 days in jail, brothers. The cops came to my house. She became the victim because I left written proof, and she took that, got a PPO on me, and I'm going to tell you something. I did 30 days in jail in the middle of finals in like my freshman or sophomore year of college, and it sucked. And I still passed, made it through and everything like that. But you see what that did. She flipped it over on me, got me upset. I went to her house, made written proof, and I was the one that ended up going to jail. Okay? That's a big one. Talk about another one I had to live in. Caught her going through my wallet. This was still in college. Going through my wall at 4:30. I get up, got out of a restless sleep, get up to take a piss about 4:30 in the morning. And what I walk out into the kitchen on my way to the bathroom, and what do I see? Her sitting at the kitchen table with all my wallet, contents of my wallet, all over the kitchen table. And I had only known this chick for maybe 2 months or 3 months or whatever. She was out the door, booted her out. She shows up later on again. I also lost $1,000 because she stole my credit card and ran it up $1,000 on my credit card, which I had to sue her for and get the charges dropped by the credit card company, and then try to make her pay, which I don't think she ever did. And I had another one that was a live-in. Got in a fight one night. I had to get up really early the next morning and go to work. I said, like I always do, I said, I'm not going to fight with you starting at 10:30 at night. We can talk about this tomorrow. I go to bed, go to sleep. About an hour and a half later, I wake up, and she's taken the hinges off the bedroom door, tried to stab me in my sleep with the fucking screwdriver. Okay? Holy shit. Calmed her down, called the freaking police, got her taken out of there. No problem, right? My mistake, I let her back in. About 10 days later, I come home from work, and I'm in a really good mood. She couldn't put me in a bad mood. She's trying to argue and fight with me. She's one of them bitches that just wants drama, Drama excites her, so she wants to start a fight. Well, she's on the phone with one of her friends in California. And, I just go to the fridge, I grab a beer. It's about 5:30, just got home from work, sit down in my chair, I'm drinking a beer, turn on the TV, and I'm just ignoring her. She's blabbing, doing something, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, wham, phone hits me in the side of the head, puts a big cut on my temple. So I don't think anything of it. I just look at her and I say, look, bitch, I don't need this today. I'm just going to have a beer or whatever, relax. I picked up the phone, handed it back to her. She said some bullshit, I don't know. Not even 3 minutes later, cops are at my house. We've had a call for domestic violence. They grab me, put me down on the ground, spill my beer all over the kitchen floor, cuff me, stand on my freaking neck while they're discussing what happened. Evidently, the phone went dead, and the chick that she was talking to in California, or the guy or whoever it was, called 911 because the phone went dead. And the assumption was that I hit her. I never touched her. Now, what happened was the cops looked and they seen this thing on my thing. I said, yeah, she threw the phone at me, and the antenna for the phone hit me in the head and cut my head open. She went to jail. They uncuffed me, let me clean up my beer, and they took her to jail. Awesome, right? I changed the locks that night, changed the lease on my way to work the next morning, got her off the lease, got her out of there. Now, what's funny about it, she tried to get back in the next day. She couldn't get back in, and then the cops came over, and I said, no, the lease is in my name. She doesn't live here anymore. And I don't have to give her 30 days or anything like that because she doesn't pay rent here. She doesn't pay anything here. She doesn't pay any utilities. She doesn't pay anything. So she was gone. Now, what's funny is 6 months later, out of the kindness of my heart, I finished that job, whatever I was doing, implementation or something like that for QS 9000 or something, I don't know, some kind of implementation. Took about 6 months. So I move, and I'm getting ready to go to my next gig, which is, I think, in Chicago or Fort Wayne or something like that, right? So I call her up and I say, hey, come and get your stuff. I'm moving. So she goes over there, and this is out of the kindness of my heart, right? I get over there, I give her stuff, and what I did is I had my neighbor get his phone out. I said, this crazy bitch is coming over here. I want you to just stand in your window and just film it. I'm going to stand in front of your house because the apartments kind of like faced each other like that. So my door and his door. So he stood in his front window, and I just stayed there in my front lawn. And he filmed the whole thing that I never touched her, but she went around the corner and filled up her car with all of her stuff, came back around and then started arguing and fighting with me, and I didn't touch her or anything like that, but she called the cops when she was around the corner, and the cops came and tried to get me arrested again for hitting her. And I said to my neighbor, come out. He came out and showed them the phone and all of the stuff that happened, and they just let her leave. They didn't take her to jail, but that just goes to show you pain and suffering dealing with these women, right? I had another chick that I was dating. Wasn't living with her. She got knocked up, okay? Fuck. This is a big deal. Not married, but she got knocked up, right? Shit. Now I got to fucking play daddy, right? She lied to me for 2 years. I bought a freaking 3-bedroom house for the bitch. Did the crib. Painted the freaking baby's room. Went to the Lamaze classes. Was at the birth. Did all the fucking daddy shit. Bought the fucking diapers and the formula. Did all that shit for 2 fucking years, right? Now the kid's starting to get to the age where we can get a nanny, or the kid's getting ready to go to school. So I tell her, time for you to get a job. And the thing that Howard Dare talks about all the time is the ejector seat. Bagoom! I got the ejector seat, man. I came home from work one day and everything in the house was gone. The stove was gone, the refrigerator was gone, the crib was gone, my couch was gone, my TV was gone. Everything's gone, the baby's gone, and she's out there, right? Ejector seat. Why? Because I told her, hey, time to be accountable, bitch. Time for you to fucking go get a job, right? This is the same bitch that when I was a professor, she whined so much that I was doing so well and she'd never amount to anything. So I lowered down my expectations on my career and started spending more time at home and shit with her. And then the last fight that we got in was a fight that was exactly the opposite of what she had said 2 years earlier. That now I had so much potential and I would never amount to anything. So 2 years earlier, she was crying because she felt insufficient to be in a relationship with me because I was doing so well in my career. So I cut back on my career, started spending more time, got a 9-to-5 job, quit all my other extracurricular jobs that I was doing, and now I had so much wasted potential. So you can't fucking make them happy. No matter what you do, they're fucking cunts, right? Now this bitch also, I had a great job. I was going to go to Korea and teach quality reliability training for about a 6-month gig. It was going to be about $170,000 for a 6-month gig training over in Korea. She stole my passport 2 days before I was getting ready to leave because she didn't want to be alone for 6 months with the kid. She wanted me to be there and didn't tell me about it afterwards. Well, of course, I didn't have a passport. I didn't know where it was. I was going crazy. I thought I lost it. I didn't lose it. She stole it, okay, out of my suit pocket, right? So, of course, the whole company that I'm working for is set up for this big training, and I've been doing all the practice training runs and all of this stuff for this big trip for 6 months, and then I don't have a passport on the time it's time to fly out. They fired me so fucking fast. And I don't know if she didn't foresee that this was going to happen or whatever, but they fired my ass. So I was fucking unemployed. And then I find the fucking passport about 2 weeks later in her glove compartment of her fucking car. I didn't put it there. She stole it and she put it in her car because I don't drive her car. I didn't do anything like that. So pain and suffering, boys. Pain and fucking suffering, and they will fuck you over every chance they get. Even if it's not good for them, they will fuck you over. Okay? I got rid of her. She took the kid, she left, gone, whatever. Come to find out, go to court, DNA test. Kid's not even fucking mine. I'm raising the kid for 2 fucking years, paying for all this shit, doing that. Turns out she was fucking around on me when she was living with me in Chicago. So now I had a maid, was banging my maid. The funniest thing was, I had the maid when this other girl was living in my house with me. She thought we were married. So this maid's banging me, right? And I don't know, about 3 months in, 4 months in, and she says that she's knocked up. I said, well, that's real interesting. Because after the last one had happened, I went and got a vasectomy. About 6 months, when the little girl was about 6 months old, I went and got a vasectomy. So I'm looking at the maid, and I'm like, oh, you're knocked up, huh? Yeah. And she says, you should tell your wife. We have to get together and tell your wife because I'm not going to have an abortion. And I let her keep cleaning for me for a little while longer. She said she was about 2 months, so I said I'm going to wait till she's about 6 months along, and then I confronted her after that. She kept being my maid and everything, and then I said, you're not showing. You're 6 months pregnant, and you're not showing. And oh, by the way, I had a vasectomy, and oh, by the way, I'm not married. I live here alone. And she never showed up again. Never came to clean my house again. And I had another chick that I lived with. She was a hoarder. Yeah, just like on the TV show. Okay? She moved in with me and had a good job, but I worked really late at night. I worked long hours until 9, 10 o'clock at night because I had meetings that I had with Tokyo that started at like 7 p.m., which was 7 a.m. Tokyo time, right? So I had these 2 or 3 hour meetings every night that started at 7 or 7:30 at night. And I wouldn't get home until 10:30, 11. Now, you get home that late after working a full day here in the States and then having a big meeting with Tokyo every night. And have McDonald's cups and Burger King wrappers and freaking Taco Bell bags all over the house and newspapers on the chairs where the thing about living with a hoarder is every horizontal place in the place starts getting covered. And I started noticing this, and I would clean for an hour or two, pick up the place, and then the next day it'd be worse, and then the next day it'd be worse. And it's funny is they'll put stuff in places where you have to sit or where you're going to be. Like they'll put them in the kitchen chair. They'll put newspapers and they'll stack them this high on the kitchen chairs so that you can't sit there. And what I figured out is she had some kind of mental illness, and it was completely based on how her mother showed her love. Her mother showed her family love by cleaning all day and cleaning, and so that's how she recognized if someone loved her is if they cleaned up after her. Well, I sat the bitch down. I said, listen, I don't fucking love you, and I'm not going to fucking clean up after you. I show my love by sticking my dick in you, doggy style, and fucking slapping your ass and fucking pulling your hair until I'm fucking done with you. Clean the fucking place up. She wouldn't clean it up. Ended up fucking booting her out too. Had to get rid of her. So that was this one. Oh, I haven't been showing the pictures. Here's the pictures. That's that one. There's my hoarder girl. Right? Here's the one that had the kid. Remember her? Yeah. What other one? Oh, I had one that was a pothead. She wasn't living. She was just a girlfriend. But she didn't have any freaking money. She actually convinced me to let her go to Detroit with her ex-boyfriend for 3 days. And I said, no, I'm not going to let you do that. What are you, crazy? She says, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. So she went and did that. And over those 3 days, I went and rented out one of my rooms in my house to a 21-year-old hot chick. Didn't tell her when she came back and came over to my house. She seen that this chick was living with me. I said, hey, man, if you can go spend 3 days with your boyfriend, I can make extra money by renting out one of the rooms in my house to this hot chick. Hey, by the way, how'd you like to meet her? And she was gone, like 2 weeks after that. And this is also the one that, like I said, she was a pothead, and she never had any money. But she always had weed, and I couldn't figure out how she'd always have weed. She'd go fuck her fucking dealer and get an ounce of weed, for giving him a blowjob or fucking him. I found out later from him. Oh, yeah, we've been fucking her for the whole time you were with her. I was fucking her. Every time she needed weed, she'd come over and fucking give me a blowjob or two. I'd give her a bag of weed. She'd run off. So they're cunts, man. They are fucking cunts. Pain and suffering, man. Then I had this one, this crazy bitch right here. Woohoo! She's a real good one. Uh, was actually going to go in on a house with me, another rental property of mine. Was going to go in one for one. And I think the down payment, we had to come up with like $15,000 between the two of us. So I came up with my half, and she wrote me a check for her half. Guess what? The check bounced. She didn't have any money in there. So I ended up buying the house anyways. I put the whole 15,000 in and the down payment for myself, turned it into a rental. Put my name on it, nothing with her. But this one also, I was at her house one time, and her ex-boyfriend, supposedly ex-boyfriend, busts in the door to her house, breaks the front door in, comes in the bedroom. I'm sleeping, and starts hitting me in the freaking face while I'm sleeping. So I get up, and I thought it was going to be really bad, but it turned out that the guy was like 5'2" and like 135 pounds. So it wasn't too bad for me because I'm like 6'2" and 235. So I basically just picked the dude up and put him in a headlock and went over to the phone, called the phone, called 911 while I was holding him in a headlock. But the cops came and all of this stuff, and I said, well, whatever, I'm not going to freaking deal with this. I'm going to press charges against this guy and I'm out of here. So I split, I go home, and that chick right there shows up at my house 2 days later with black eyes and a broken nose, all fucked up, right? So I go and I get a PPO, and it's her her boyfriend. I said, I don't want to be involved in this. I said, if this is your ex-boyfriend or whatever, or he's your new boyfriend or whatever, oh, he's my fiance, we're going to get married. I said, what the fuck are you doing here then? I didn't know where else to go. So I fucking white knighted and got a PPO and all this stuff. I said, well, I'm still going forward with my criminal case because the guy did a home invasion and busted down a door and basically attacked me in my sleep. If he would have had a baseball bat, I'd be dead right now. And if he wasn't, 5'2", I'd be a little messed up or hurt. So go to court, and oh, by the way, it's like a 4-hour drive up to where the court case is at. I go up to court and I'm standing on one side and her boyfriend are standing on the other side. So she flopped over to his side. That's hypergamy, right? It's just fucking crazy. I go to the prosecutor and says, well, she's recanting all of her stuff, and she's gonna. And I said, what about the pictures? What about that stuff? We're not going to prosecute the case. We're not going to go forward. So I drive 4 hours back home for nothing. Right? Crazy, man. Pain and suffering, gentlemen. Pain and suffering. None of this has anything to do with money. My other video told you all about the money that I lost due to women. This is just freaking pain and suffering. Okay? Cheating with a cheater. Met this other chick. This one right here. Woohoo! Great one. She was awesome in bed, by the way. I met her. She was cheating on her boyfriend, right? So I got with her. I was in a relationship with her, scuba diving, going on vacations. She was very wealthy, very affluent professional. I was a very wealthy, affluent professional. We were both in our 30s. Both had our own houses, did our thing, and we had a lot of fun together for like 2 years. And she wanted to be in love and all that stuff, wanted to get married, and I knew I was never going to do that. But sure enough, what ended up happening? Cheaters cheat, man. She started cheating with another freaking dude, cheating on me. And then it wasn't the coming home to an empty house anymore because I didn't let them live with me at that point anymore. But it was the U-Haul pulls up with all my shit in it that was at her house to dump off on my front lawn. I said, oh, this must mean we're breaking up. I said, why are we breaking up? She's like, I don't want to talk about it. I said, I know why we're breaking up. You're fucking somebody else. You're a whore. So that's all of the romantic stuff. I'm going to talk specifically about work now. I can talk about the vacations. I went on a couple vacations with some bitches, some European vacations. Like right here, man, Hard Rock Cafe, Paris. I went to Paris with this one chick. She wanted to spend 3 days taking pictures of cows. And after about 2 days of supporting that behavior, I said, I kind of want to go see the Mona Lisa. I want to go to the Louvre. I want to go see some cultural things in Paris. You know, it's not every day that you get to go over here to London. And I want to go to Windsor Castle. I want to go see Stonehenge. You know, I want to go catch a Man U game or whatever. I'm not gonna go around and take pictures of cows with you all freaking day for my entire vacation. So I had to get rid of her and just go on and get my own hotels and stuff like that. But it just goes to show you, even under the best situations, traveling with them or anything like that, they are all about themselves and they want to do what they want to do and they don't care about what you're there for culture or anything, because that doesn't provide any social advantage to them or whatever. Okay. All right. Let me talk about work. I lost so many jobs due to women. Um, this one right here. Where is she? Oh, Shanny. Yeah, Shanny. About 2 hours after this picture right here was taken. That's taken at a bar in Pontiac, Michigan. About 2 hours after that picture right there was taken, I could have been taken up on rape charges. Okay. I used to hang out with that girl right there all the time at work. We used to go out to work after work, hang out with people. We went to a little brewery around the corner, and we hang out till 9, 10 o'clock at night, party, then go our separate ways. Well, she lost her job where I was working at, and she was pissed at the company that they fired her. So she got in cahoots with this other girl, and at the last little get together, which was that one right there, the company was giving her like a going away thing, and everybody was there. Well, she had it set up so that everybody would leave, and she had this other little girlfriend of hers waiting, right? So I'm sitting there by myself for like 20 minutes. I can't figure out where she's at. Her beer's getting warm, her soup's getting cold, her purse is just sitting there. So I go in the female bathroom, and I go in the door, and she's in there passed out or whatever, right? So I go and I get her, I pick her up, she's drunk as a skunk, whatever. I take her out, put her in my car, go back in, get her purse, I pay for her beer, her tab, all of her food, everything like that, leave a note, and then I have the bartender call her husband, who I knew. And I called her husband, right? That was the smartest freaking thing that I did, was calling her husband, and I told him, come to my house and pick her up, she'll be over there, right? Well, they didn't think that I would do that, right? So I took her back to my house, put her on the couch, laid her down, gave her put some aspirin, some water on the coffee table, and then I had a gig that night because I played in the band, so I was getting ready to go to get ready to go. So I wasn't, going to be doing any rapey stuff because at 9:30 I had to go get the guitar amps and get everything loaded to go play that night, right? So sure enough, what happens? Cops show up, and the other little bitch that she's in cahoots with show up at the door, that they had reports of loud noises and that there was a sexual molestation and rape going on here, and someone was being victimized and all this stuff. Well, the cops come in, they see her laying on the couch, and then the little bitch walks in behind the cops, and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on here. And luckily for me, about 2 minutes while the cops are sitting there questioning me, I'm already in handcuffs. Again, getting ready to be taken out. Her husband walks in and says, what's going on here? It's like, no, he called me from the bar, and he didn't do anything to her, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And as soon as her husband walked in, she was stone cold sober. She sat up on the couch and she's like, what are you doing here, Paul? Oh, the rooster called me. What the fuck's going on here? So she was trying to get money out of the company through sexual harassment. She was going to put me up as a patsy and put me in jail so that then she could sue the company for money. Yeah, how do you like that? Okay, and then I had another boss, hired me for the sole reason that she wanted to bang me. I didn't want to bang her. So she lived 5 minutes from work. I lived 5 minutes from her. I lived 5 minutes from work. We lived really close. And this was a great job for me, right? As soon as she found out that I wasn't going to bang her while she was going through her divorce and all of this stuff, this was my boss. She transferred me to another unit that was an hour and a half away in a different city. So instead of getting up at a decent time, I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and drive an hour and a half to another city to go to do what I was supposed to do. What they told me I was going to do 5 miles away from my house, right? So, and then an hour and a half home. So I did that for, I don't know, about 6 months, thinking that it was going to change, and then I was just like, this is bullshit. I quit. But another boss that freaking. Now, then I had my other boss. I worked for the big three. Everybody, when they hired me, knew what they were hiring me for except me. I went into this company, and my master's degree is in business administration, but my specialty is in um, interpersonal relations and quantitative analysis, right? Well, I'm really good at statistics. I'm really good at math. So this lady hires me, and I'm doing all of this statistical data sets on noise, vibration, harshness for Chrysler Corporation, right? Well, come to find out, she's been trying to get her PhD for like 3 years, and she's failed her dissertation like 3 times because she can't do the math. She doesn't know how to do central limit theorem. She doesn't know how to do quantitative analysis. She doesn't know how to do basic statistics. She doesn't know Poisson curves or any of that stuff, right? She doesn't even know how to use a normal curve to collect data or t-tests or any of that stuff, right? She doesn't know how to do it. So I'm doing all of this data grinding for her, setting up models, setting up Gaussian models, setting up all of these noise, vibration, and harshness models for the different platforms that the vehicles are on and stuff like that. She's taking all my work, taking it to her professor, and pawning it off as hers. As soon as she got her PhD, as soon as she got her dissertation done, I was out of there. I was gone. I was useless. No use to them anymore. Got rid of me, right? I had to go to Iraq twice and Afghanistan, and here's a lesson: never turn over any of your assets or anything like that to a woman, because if you're doing better than they are, they will run your business into the ground. I turned my rental properties over to a real estate company that was run by 3 women. It was the only one in the area where my properties were that was close by my properties. If I could have, I would have had it run by a guy, but the closest guy was like 50 miles away, so he was going to charge me gas to go back and forth to rent these properties for me. So I go to Iraq and I go to Afghanistan once, and the whole time that I'm gone, she doesn't get anything rented. All she's doing is taking money from me. I'm paying out of my own thing. When I get back in between deployments, I put my own tenants in, but she's still getting 10% even though she's not doing any of the work. And she's running all my tenants out, and I'm doing all of her job and everything like that in between deployments, filling my houses up with tenants. She ran my business into the freaking ground. Okay? And then when I finally came back from Afghanistan, on my third deployment, I was flat broke. She had just run it on, hadn't paid the taxes, hadn't done anything on these properties. And I wanted to sue her, but I couldn't, because right around then, the real estate bubble hit. And everything got freaking blown up, bankruptcy, the whole freaking deal. So now I want to talk about a very special group of people. If you're a white man, and that's the black woman. Okay, so my first interaction at work with a black woman, I was a professor at a pretty prestigious Midwestern college, an entrepreneurial college, business college. And this woman didn't show up for class. The first class, when I explained the grading system, she didn't show up for half of the other classes. And she ended up getting a non-passing grade. So she took me to the dean and said that I was being sexist and racist. And These are her exact words. Talk about privilege. She says, I'm a black woman and I paid for this class. I deserve to pass. If I paid for this class, I deserve to pass. And I'm going like this. I'm just shaking my head. I said, look, you paid for the opportunity to compete with the other people in the class. That's what you paid for. And I look over and the dean is over there like this going, shaking his head like this. And he's agreeing with her. And I said, oh my God, it's over for me. And sure enough, guy ran right out of there. You cannot argue. If you are a white man, even if you are the professor, you cannot argue with a black woman because they have entitlement and privilege, and the blue pill people are gonna side with them. Let me talk about my other run-in with Blackie number 2, black woman doing project management for a very big automotive company, and one day all of my project plans that I had 20,000 lines of project plan, Gantt charts, and all of that stuff in Microsoft Project. But at the bottom, I did everything in clear white, the same color as the paper, so you couldn't see it. But I put my name and my date at the bottom of every single page on my project plans, right? So I'm at a meeting one day, and this black lady who's on my team, but in a different area, presents this project plan. And I'm like, that looks a lot like my project plan from about 2 years ago. And I look into it and I print it out. And sure enough, when you print it out, she didn't look at the printouts. It has my name at the bottom. And I'm like, how did she get this? She had copied my work from either the network or from the center area where we downloaded all of our plans to, and pawned it off as hers. So I'll go to my boss and I tell him, and he's like, oh. So then I went and confronted her, and that was my mistake. Again, can't confront them one-on-one because then you're creating them as a victim, right? Even though she stole my intellectual property, she stole my freaking work, they drag us all into a conference room, and I'm the one that's being interrogated. So I show him, I said, look, this is my project plan. It has my freaking name on it. And then the waterworks. She starts crying. Well, it's not right. It's not the same one. I did my own work. And he yelled at me. He came to my desk and he threatened me and he told me he was going to get me fired and blah, 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 blah. Guess who got booted? Me. See ya. Guess who stayed? The black woman. Yeah. So, pain and suffering. I haven't mentioned dollar values in any of this. This is all just pain and suffering. So that's basically my story in a nutshell. There are many, many, many other data points. Many other data points. There are many other men out there that have the same data points. If you are a 20-year-old kid right now and you're trying to get through the minefield of whether to be MGTOW or not, I'm telling you, by the time you're 45, you're going to end up as a MGTOW, so you might as well do it now, because do you want to go through all of the stuff that I just described in a lifetime? Or do you want to take the experience from all of these men who have been through this shit over and over and over and over again and learn from what's already happened? There are no Nawalts out there. They don't exist. Okay? You should definitely keep a diary of these crazy chicks, whether it's pictures, if you want to keep pictures of them with little writings on the back so that to remind you, oh yeah, that's right, I've already been with a crazy bitch like that, I need to get away. Or if you just keep a picture on your phone and write across her face, this one is fucking crazy, this one will steal from you, this one will get you fired, whatever you need to write on there. If you do this diary, if you do this blue pill data diary, I promise you, you will come to the same conclusions that I have. Now, I'm going to show you some super awesome graphs right here with all my data points. I said this is a data point thing, right? So I'm going to try to do this here. This is before MGTOW, right? This is before I went MGTOW. This is my pain and suffering level, and this is my interaction level with women, right? As my interaction level with women went down, my pain and suffering went down. These are all the data points that I just described to you. You know, early on in my life, I'm 18, I'm fucking up, and I'm doing all of these things, and these women are giving me pain and suffering levels 9s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. And as I get out and I went to T38, okay, because 38, at the age of 38, that is when I officially became a MGTOW. That's when I retired. That's when I got out of the rat race. That's when I could officially get away from freaking women. That's when I got my 20 years in the Navy and got away from them. Now, from 38 on, here we go. From 38 on till now, not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm pretty fucking close to 50. All of these fucking data points are ones. Ones and twos, and maybe one little 2 and one little 3 down here at the end, right? But this is after I went MGTOW. This is my pain and suffering level. Happy, fat, dumb, and happy, and low. No pain and suffering because I have low interactions with females. Okay? The lower your interaction is with females in your life, the lower your pain and suffering level will be in your life. Okay? It's just that simple. Okay, gentlemen, that's all I have for today. If you have any points that you'd like to make, if you have any corollaries in your life, if you'd like to cheer and go yay, yay, yay down in the comment sections, do it. Feel free. Not going to argue with you because this is basically my life and I'm the only one that lived it. So you can put, if you want to argue that none of this actually happened, you can do that too, but it's not going to get you anywhere. So that's all I have, gentlemen. And as always, take it easy.